Ah,
Love
late.
that. Love
Oh,
that.
well.
Love that. We were all off.
Yeah, it's fine.
That's a whole lot of fun. I'm glad we do that. I'm glad that's a thing.
Yeah.
Glad that's going to be a thing.
Even though our listeners on Spotify and Google Podcasts can't see it, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
for the viewers on YouTube, you got to give them a little something, something. You know.
Yeah.
Little razzle dazzle.
Yeah. 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 But how are you boys doing? It's good to be back. It's good to be. Dev kept my seat warm. How was it?
Oh,
Yeah.
it was fabulous. We talked about 2-year COVID anniversary. We talked about how much we missed you and we value your company.
Yeah.
And we realized that the Suez Canal is not a good talking point.
It really wasn't. I had to cut that out.
Golly. Was that a year ago? Was that a year ago? Last week?
It didn't work as a topic a week ago. It's not going to work as a topic now. Let's just move on.
I just can't believe it's been a year. I can't believe it's been a year.
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
Hold on, wait. Here's a little tidbit for you. I don't know if it was the same ship, but the same company had another ship get stuck in like near Maryland. It like ran up in too shallow of water.
Yeah, I read
it
that.
was stuck. Yeah. So there's a little fun tidbit for you guys.
Yeah, it might be a company thing. Who knows?
Yeah, they need to screen the drivers.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Get better captains. Or, not try to sail a giant cargo ship up the Chesapeake for some reason.
Yeah, like, okay, this is only 100 feet wide. Our ship's not 150. Yeah, we can make it. Let's hit it. Okay, the people of Annapolis need their stuff.
Mhm.
Full send.
Yeah.
Although I don't want to offend any people that know more about Annapolis than I do, but I think Annapolis is more in the harbor, so I think the ship would be fine. I should not be an expert in this topic. I should not be talking about it. I'm gonna refrain. I'm gonna hold back.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I did went like a bit south. Well, okay, I'll go. I went a bit south from Annapolis. I went to Baltimore for a law school visit yesterday.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right on.
Yeah.
Have you made a decision yet?
Yeah. Yep.
Drum roll. Wait, you actually did?
Yeah, I actually did because okay. Cardozo's
secret?
Too expensive. I'll just say it now because this episode's gonna be out on Friday. In Maryland, Edgar Allan Poe's graveyard, or like where he's buried, is right next to the law school.
For you?
And it makes the entire vibe of the law school depressing. And so I'm going to Temple basically.
I figured that's where this was going.
No, it's like
the newest owl.
Yeah. I've evolved from a hawk to an owl, or a Quaker from a hawk to an owl, basically. Yeah.
Wow, it's like those. You remember those books, Animorphs, where on the cover it's like a kid turning into like an iguana or something?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I do not.
I've never actually read one of those.
Me neither. But yeah, it's I'm basically morphing like a Pokemon. I'm just like a Quaker, and then I turn into a hawk, and now I'm an owl somehow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Your Luke evolved into a law student.
Yeah.
He's learning crippling depression.
He's a lawyer.
Yeah.
He's getting there.
Yeah.
So you're moving 20 minutes away from home?
Yeah. I have to find a place. I'll probably be over in Fairmont or like somewhere in Philly. That's not Temple. But yeah.
Okay.
It'll be fun.
Well, then you'll only be an hour and a half from me, and you won't have an excuse not to come see me.
Or you could come down, and because you'll be an hour and a half away from me.
Touche. All right, you got me.
Yeah. There's more interesting stuff to do in Philly,
No,
exactly.
absolutely.
I was about to say that.
Yeah. How is it over in Lancaster, Pat?
Oh, well, honestly, it's been freezing. It was it's been bitterly cold. We had a snow squall here yesterday. I don't know if you guys know what that is. That has never occurred in New Jersey in my lifetime.
No, it happened.
There was a 70-car pileup on I-81.
Mm-hmm.
It killed.
I saw that on the news. the news.
Really? Actually, I didn't realize it was newsworthy, but it was like a big thing. It killed like 4 or 5 people, maybe more.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez.
And it was just like random blow in of like blizzard conditions, and everybody just kind of rammed into each other. And that doesn't really have anything to do with my life at all, but it's more interesting than what I'm doing. At the moment, I am kind of on the fence. Survivor came back on. I'm sure you guys know the show. My girlfriend has been pining for me to audition to be on the show. And I'm like, kind of been doing a couple dry runs of trying to sound interesting enough to, make it through to the next round kind of thing. So that's my big little teaser of what's to come. Yeah. See if I could be a reality TV star.
Pat, I love you to death, but I don't know if Survivor's your show. I don't know if that's your. Maybe. Hey, I would be pleasantly surprised if you did really well, and I'd cheer you on. I'd root for you. Absolutely, 100% behind you. I don't know if it's your show.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'm glad that.
I mean, you look the part right
there.
now. You look the part right now.
That's
like
what I'm
with
saying.
the beard and like the flannel. But
yeah.
Knowing you as a human being, yeah, I agree with Mike. I don't know if you'll make it.
What? Okay, I'm offended.
Yeah, we'll be your number one fans, but
yeah.
I don't have much faith.
Same
wow. Here. Okay, well, at the very least, I get like a month-long vacation at a nice hotel in, what is it, Fiji? I think it's Fiji.
I don't know where they do it.
I think it's Fiji at this point. So, at the end of the day, I think it would be cool.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Did you fill out the application?
No. I'm too scared. It's like sending like a video of yourself being like, oh yeah, I'm interesting and this is why. And it's kind of awkward.
No, Pat, you use the footage from this podcast and you just submit that as your material.
No, it's just a long publicity stunt to try to get our podcast on CBS.
Yeah.
It's a giant ploy.
And then they find out
we're playing the long game.
Yeah.
The
biggest marketing stunt that has ever existed is me on a reality show advertising a podcast that has 40 listeners at most.
At most. If it was 40, then we'd be making like a cent. But we don't.
Okay.
We don't.
Well, anyway, that's about all that's really interesting about what's been going on with my week. And I know Luke and I have been waiting quite a bit to hear about your Ecuador experience.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, what an experience. It's I don't even know where to begin.
About the beginning.
Yeah. Okay. So it started out. It was good. It was exhausting. We traveled a long way to get there. It was 30 hours one way to get where we went. We went to a pretty remote village it's called the Onsolate River. But yeah, we had to, we took every mode of transportation you could possibly imagine. We drove from Laramie, Wyoming, which is where I live, to Denver, Colorado, and then we flew from Denver to Houston. Then we flew from Houston to Quito, which is the capital of Ecuador, and then we took a bus driven by our faithful driver Miguel, who, let me tell you, got into some wild things. So I guess this is where I could start. This is where I could start with you guys. We get to Quito at like 2 a.m. And the guy that's leading us there, his name's Carlos, and he booked a company bus to take us to the river, which we'd catch a boat anyway. Miguel was our driver. And so we get in the bus, and the bus trip was from 2 a.m. till 7:30 in the morning, because we had to go through the countryside of Ecuador. We had to drive through the Andes Mountains, like down to the coast of Ecuador. I was like an hour away from the Colombia border at one point. So Miguel, I kid you not, there is no rules in the road in Ecuador. There are zero rules, and if there is a rule, it's meant to be broken. I mean, this guy. We are double yellow lines, okay, and he's coming around a corner down a mountainside, and he's going 90 kilometers an hour, which is, I don't know how many miles per hour, but it's fast. And there's a car in front of him going too slow, and so he just says, "Yeah, this is a good time to pass. This is double yellow, can't see around a blind corner, 90 miles an hour around this truck." That's Sunday. I was holding on for dear life. I did not sleep. Carlos told us, he was like, "Hey, get some sleep, get some rest on this ride, because when we get to the river in the morning, we got more of a journey ahead of us." So I could not sleep. Miguel also smoked a dog. We were driving, and a dog runs out of the middle of the road, boom, just destroys this dog.
Oh,
I was wondering if that was like,
yeah.
some hip lingo for like doing drugs that I wasn't hip enough to understand.
No,
Smoking the dog.
he just
No,
okay.
no, legit killed a dog. He also killed a bird. It's like a bird. Okay, in his defense, the bird was kind of dying, and so he just boom plows into it. And we've now killed two animals on our journey, and we're just cruising through the back road. And the route that we took to get to the river is a known high drug trafficking route. During COVID, Mexican cartels had moved in and started like doing business along this route. So the Ecuadorian government has set up checkpoints when you like essentially enter like provinces or states, like if you were like crossing a state border, but like into different provinces. And so Miguel just had no regard for these military checkpoints. He just kind of swerved around them every time. And I said, "This can't be good. You've got 4 Americans in the back, and you're telling me that we're not going to go through these. We're just going to swerve these military checkpoints." But we did, and then we got to the river, and I thought I was going to throw up because it was also just back and forth, start and stop. I mean, we were, and I was like, "Wow, what a night to remember, huh?" And then we board a canoe, a motorized canoe. We didn't have to paddle. We board a motorized canoe, and we traveled 2 hours up the river to this remote village. And yeah, it was cool. This village, it's very poor, very impoverished place. And so our goal, this is for work. So we were helping them with a school, helping them fix their school up. So we were, the school's growing, and so there's been a lot of new students coming, and so they built, like, they just extended the roof of the school and just over a dirt area, and there's no walls or anything, and they just had a whiteboard, and they just called that a classroom. And so what our job was is we came in and we helped level the floor, lay a cement floor, lay a cinder block wall to make it enclosed so it's part of the actual school. And then in between each classroom there was like wood planks, and that were rotting and falling down. So we ripped those all out and we put up cement walls. And then we redid some of the floors that were falling apart. So it's a lot of freaking manual labor. And I'll tell you what, every man in this village, specimen. I mean, absolute specimen. They are what the human body should look like. Every muscle on their body is defined. I mean, it's impressive. It really is. And even the kids have 6-packs. I mean,
Wow.
9-year-olds are walking around just ripped. And the kids would carry like 6 cinder blocks like on their shoulder like this. And I could carry 3, if that puts it in any comparison. I mean, I know I'm weak already, but these kids were showing me up. They were carrying like 6 cinder blocks. I'm struggling with 3. I mean, I am shaking and sweating, and these kids are running up and down the stairs with 6. And so it was a lot of physical work, but it was good, and I felt it was cool to make an impact there among this village. And to be honest with you, like on a serious note, I learned a lot about poverty. Like, I think I learned a lot of perspective of poverty, because I think most of the times when we think of poverty, we're like, oh my gosh, we got to get these people out. We got to give them what we have. They got to be like us, and they'll be out of poverty, right? And I don't think that's the case. Like, going there, I don't think that's the case. I think there's a lot of joy that those people had, a lot of happiness. Like the kids, like, yeah, they didn't have much. They lived in a lot of shacks, dirt floors, wood, little planks on the side, no windows or anything, like just open air. But the kids would go out in the street and play soccer, and like everybody would just hang out, and they were friendly and kind, and they didn't seem upset about their circumstances, right? Which doesn't mean that we shouldn't help at all. I think we should provide need, and we should help, like going and helping in the school, or providing medicine, or providing what we can. But how do we meet people in their needs instead of trying to be their savior or fix their problem? Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's the classic, like the classic white knight, or like the white savior complex, where it's like where it's like folks come in trying to change things. But then it's not what we're trying to do, doesn't meet what the community needs,
Right.
Yeah.
Right. No, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. If I just came in and gave them, here's a bunch of like really expensive clothes. I don't know. That's not meeting their needs, right? They don't desire that. They don't desire clothes. Like what they need is like medical help. Like the Ecuadorian government, they built a medical clinic in this village because I mean it's so remote. You have to canoe out of there, and it's multiple hours to the nearest city, and so the Ecuadorian government built a clinic, but they don't give money to it. They don't upkeep it. There's no medicine there. So like when people go there, there's nothing. What does it do? It's more of just like, oh, look what we have, and so like the need is like, how do we stock that? How do we help you? How do we, do that? So that was cool. I do have an awkward, funny story.
Yeah.
If you don't mind me sharing. So first day we're there, we helped out on farms of the locals, and that's like the main economy down there. So everybody owns a farm, and it's actually I might be saying this wrong, but like the chocolate beans, like cocoa beans, is their main source of income. They harvest them. They have trees. They grow on trees. They knock them down, and then they take a machete and they crack open the shell, and then they take the seeds, dry them. The whole thing makes chocolate. Kind of fun. But anyway, we went to a farm with one of the guys that has a cocoa farm, and we were helping him one day do this stuff and whatever. And it was hot. It was just, we're right on the equator, so we're sweating. So he's like, "Hey, you want to like in Spanish?" I don't know very good Spanish, but he did the motion swim, so we kind of got the idea what he was talking about. He was telling us, "You want to go cool off and swim in the river?" But yeah, sounds great. So we finish up in the farm. We go to the river, and we're cooling off, and it was lovely. It felt so nice. We're sitting in the river, and there's a lady doing laundry in the river because that's where they do all of that stuff. And it was her daughter, around my age, and the two of them were doing laundry, and then we were with this guy, and we were swimming, and the lady was asking in Spanish to the guy like if we were single or married, because that was a very common question we got. That was like, it was like, what's your name? Where are you from? Are you single or are you married? It's such a weird, I mean, it's just a cultural thing, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the guys I was with could speak a little Spanish. So he understood what she was asking. And so he told the guy that we were with that we were both single. And now I cannot speak a lick of Spanish. I'll admit that. I need to learn Spanish, but I know nothing. So already this guy, my buddy, had an upper hand on me. And so he tells the guy that we're single. So he reports to the girl who yells at her, whatever, that we're single. But then the one guy says that Mike's looking for a girl.
Oh no! Oh no!
He tells him that in Spanish. Well, he tells him that in Spanish. So I have no idea what he's saying. I don't know. I'm just kind of sitting there chilling in the water, no idea what's going on, right? And this guy's cracking up laughing. So I said, Caleb, what did you tell him? And he said, I told him you were looking for a wife. And I was like, oh geez. And so then the lady yells back to the guy, and then the guy, the only thing he knows in English, turns to me and he goes, "Do you like black?" And I'll tell you what, I was so like, it was, what? Excuse me? He was like, "Do you like black?" And I started playing it off cool, like, oh, I don't know what he's talking about. I can't understand him. So I just kind of didn't say anything. But he like took me and pointed at the girl and said, "Do you like black?" And I imagine, what do you do in that situation? Like, what do you do? Because if I say yes, I'm getting married, and if I say no, I'm insensitive. You know what I mean? So I am in a locked position of, I don't know what to do here.
Yeah.
And this guy's loving it, and he just keeps pointing to her, and my solution was, I'm just gonna get out of the river. So I got up and I left. And I didn't say anything.
Can we pause real quick? Sorry.
Awkward. Yeah.
All right, we're back.
So anyways,
Mike.
Luke is yelling at his family, and Mike is married.
Yeah.
No, I left the river. And I said, I don't know if I want to see this guy. I don't know if I can see this guy again because he's going to keep asking me until I answer this question, and I don't want to. I don't want to answer this question. I don't know how to culturally or appropriately answer this question. So I didn't. I just left, and that was that. But I'm curious what you guys would do in that situation.
Well, that sounds like one of those things where you just awkwardly walk away, that you can't really just do like anything well or treat that subject well. I don't know. Seems like I mean, for Pat it's easy because he's in a relationship,
yeah, right.
so you know.
Yeah, Pat just says, "Oh, I'm in a relationship already." You know.
Well, I mean, even theoretically, say I am in the jungles of Ecuador and I have just been offered up on a silver platter to some random girl. Even if I am single,
Yeah,
Oh,
I
would just tell her that I'm taken and just be like, "I'm sorry, but this item is no longer on the menu."
See now but I don't have control because I can't speak Spanish, and my one buddy's just throwing me under the bus. Okay, my one buddy is doing me zero favors.
Yeah.
You know,
or he's being a wingman.
well, I don't think it was that. I think he was trying to put me in an awkward situation. But so that's that.
Yeah. Well, you know, love exceeds language, so you know, maybe I don't know, you know.
I guess that's one way to look at it.
Yeah.
One way to look at it.
Always been a positive look in life, especially when you're yelling at your mom, at your family.
Yeah. No, but it was really good. I got to speak to the youth. For the navigators for my work. I got to share a little bit of my story, just like I came to know Jesus and that kind of stuff with the youth of the village, which was really cool. I didn't expect to do that or be asked to do that, but I got to share. And that was kind of nerve wracking because I've never worked with a translator before. And I would lose my train of thought, and then I'd be like, all right, this is what I was saying. Yeah, and get back into it. And it was cool, but it was really cool. It was special. I'm glad I did it. Exhausted. If somebody asked me, would you go back right now? I'd say I need a little bit more time. Maybe that shows a lot of things because, I mean, there's a lot of comforts and luxuries we have here in the U.S. that we're grateful for and blessed to have that they don't have. And I'll admit I enjoy those comforts, and those luxuries. So it's interesting. It's an interesting mix. Also, all of the locals thought it was hilarious how weak I was because I learned how to say I learned how to say fuerte, which is strong, and so I kept saying that I was no fuerte, and oh man, they got a hoot out of that. That was the talk of the town. Literally, one guy literally just walked around with me and then would yell at somebody and then point to me and tell me to say it, and then I'd say it, and they'd lose their minds. That was the funniest thing, and because, like I said, they're all jacked. They are all specimens. I mean, they could easily be playing in the NFL right now. I mean, they are freaking jacked. But yeah, so they really got a kick out of me. They really got a kick out of me. But to be honest with you, I enjoy physical labor. I just don't do it nearly enough. But yeah, it was cool. It was cool. So. Does that make sense? I know I just kind of rambled for a little bit, but
yeah, no, it was good. It was good.
Yeah,
it
was good.
You both learned and enjoyed your time and found love in Ecuador.
That's true. I mean, if that happened to you in Wyoming, if somebody was just like, "Hey, you single? This girl over here, she's looking." Would you have been like?
No, but see, that's a totally different context. That's a totally different context. That's not. Do you like black? that's not. Like,
but what if they said that to you in Wyoming?
I would probably walk away still. I'd say, I don't know. I'm just not gonna play that game. I'm not gonna.
But then you'd run into those people in your Walmart because that's where everybody sees each other. It would just be awkward all over again because they'll ask you again and you'll have to leave Walmart and probably not pay for whatever you were trying to buy because you gotta go.
I give up shopping at Walmart. I'd have to give up shopping at Walmart.
So then you just wouldn't.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't have anything. Yeah.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a question about Ecuador. So
Okay.
I had a teacher, an environmental teacher that used to take students around on different trips. And he was telling us that he went to Ecuador with a class and they had a problem where they just had like tons of random stray dogs that were just like around.
Well,
did you see any of that?
I mean, we did kill one. I don't know if it was stray, but it was we did kill a dog.
I forget where he said that he stayed, but he said they were just like wandering the streets and they would just like walk up to you and like look at you and wait for you to give them food and they would like follow you places. And apparently it was really like off-putting because there were so many of them and apparently it was just like normal. And I just wanted to see if that was something that you saw because I don't know,
like,
it's just something odd that stood out to me.
Yeah, in the village there was a bunch of dogs and like nobody like there's no like fences or anything of somebody's house, like, and there's no real, I mean, there's a couple doors, but some people have doors, some people don't. But like the dogs just kind of roam around, hang out, like, so I couldn't tell you if they were stray or not, but they were just kind of around. Same with chickens. There's just chickens all over the town. But I do know this about the chickens, so maybe this applies to the dogs. The chickens, like, to us, you would just walk around and be like, I have no idea whose chicken that is. But in the village, everybody knows who everybody's chicken is. And like if you touch somebody's chicken that's not yours, you're gonna get a beating because it's somebody's chicken that you just touched and you just tried to eat or kill, you know? And so like literally these chickens just be roaming around everywhere. I was like, how do you keep it straight? Like, how do you know? And Carlos, the guy that was there with us, he was like, they just know. They just know whose is whose, you know? So like maybe that applies to the dogs too, if they're just like around. Like I never saw like an owner take care of a dog, but I saw a ton of dogs just around. So maybe it's the same sort of thing. Maybe it's like, that is my dog. Don't you dare touch my dog. But you would never know it's my dog until you touch my dog, you know?
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. That's interesting. That's an interesting way to put it.
So I mean I don't know specifically about the dogs, so.
All right, that's just my one little tidbit about Ecuador that I happen to know. That's about all I can offer to the conversation.
Yeah.
And the Galapagos.
And the Galapagos?
The Galapagos Islands.
Yeah.
What about them?
They're in Ecuador. They're part of Ecuador.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah. They're Darwin,
Oh, they're the birds that went the dodos.
The finches.
The finches.
Yeah. No, there's the finches. It's definitely
was it the finches, or was it
definitely the finches?
This is why I'm a poli-sci major.
How would Darwin study evolution on an extinct animal?
No, the dodos were still around.
They were?
Yeah, until like the 1900s, and then we just sort of killed them all because they were stupid. Well, not because they were stupid, but they died because they were stupid. Like,
well, by that logic, they were somebody's dodos, but you wouldn't know it unless you tried to mess with them.
Yeah, right.
Okay, I think I'm starting to understand the lay of the land here.
Yeah.
Just don't touch anything.
and the Amazon rainforest. There's part of it in Ecuador.
Oh.
Is that where you were?
No. So Ecuador's, the internet don't kill me, but it's kind of like a circle, sort of loosely a round circle, but there's obviously not. But imagine a circle. Quito is kind of like right north, kind of center, and it's right in the Andes Mountains, which run through the country. And then on the left is kind of like not the Amazon, and then the right is the Amazon. And so I was on the left of the Andes Mountains, so it was not the Amazon.
Okay,
but it was jungle-esque because it's where you are in the world. So, but yeah, not the Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
I was on the Galapagos side, if you will. The Galapagos are offshore into the Pacific Ocean.
Got it.
I was towards the Pacific Ocean.
Cool.
Yeah. Seems like you had a fun time.
It was good. It was good. I'm curious. Since we're talking about vacation, like, what are your guys' crazy vacation memory stories? Funny things that you remember from family vacations you took with friends, or
Okay, so just because you already brought this up, with the driving doesn't really apply in different parts of the world.
yeah,
So we took a cruise a while ago, like 2 or 3 years ago, to
yeah.
St. Martin and St. Thomas.
Mm.
Uh-huh.
Which, if you ask me what country they are a part of, I have no idea.
I'll look it up. I'll look it up. You keep
I
talking.
think they're the United States Virgin Islands, something like that.
I'll look it
And
up.
so we went to St. Thomas first, and on the way back, we went snorkeling with the turtles. It was a lovely time, wonderful, wonderful ordeal. And then the guy drops us off at the port, and it's kind of like this huge cove area. So we're like over here, and you can see the cruise ship, like probably like 3 or 4 miles around the hook. And we got there on like all these buses that came and picked us up and brought us to where we needed to go. And then on the way back, they hired like personal drivers on the island to like drive us back. And there's only one road on this island to get like to and from that area, and it's just flooded with all of these little like, you know, taxi-esque cars that are all just like accelerating incredibly fast and then braking really hard because everybody is trying to get back to this one spot and it's completely jammed. And the whole time our guy is literally just like back and forth, just like jostling the car, just like stopping and starting over and over again. It was like 20 minutes of just like headbanging over and over again. It was so bad. And the guy was like not paying attention to the road. He was talking on the phone. He was like scrolling through stuff while he was accelerating and then like putting the phone down to brake. It was just like, my God. And he definitely hopped the double yellow at least twice in the span of like 10 minutes.
Wow.
It was horrifying. There was just the two of us in the car too, and he was cursing. He was just like throwing off f-bombs everywhere at people, and we're just like, man, I hope we could get back to the cruise ship in time. As we're like, eat her. It was so bad. I will never forget that.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny.
That's kind of my relevant driving story. Oh, and also I went to Canada when I was like 7, and I didn't really do well on like flights or trips. I got like violently sick. So we took this like wonderful bus tour around, I think it was maybe Vancouver. It was like 6 hours long. And in the first hour, I got violently sick, like all over myself.
Oh.
And so I got this really long dress shirt like thing. It was for like someone my size now, but I was 7. And I was just like walking around Canada without any pants for like 6 hours. And it was a great time. Like, besides being violently sick, I definitely have some odd, like, not vacation stories, but travel to get around from vacation stories are definitely very interesting.
Yeah.
I had a friend, one of my good friends. He got married and they were going to Jamaica, and the night of his wedding, all of his groomsmen, we found his suitcase that was packed, and we took out all his underwear and replaced them with triple X tidy whities that we rode on, and that was the only underwear that he had for the entire trip. We didn't even leave him one pair, and he said that he freeballed it the entire time, and he was pretty upset with us when he got back. But that made me think of that when you were talking about the shirt and wearing no pants.
Well, yeah, but I was 7, so it's a little more acceptable than a grown man who's getting married walking around without that.
Yeah, well, he's already married at this point. This is his honeymoon. This is his.
Oh, well, then I guess that's probably the most acceptable place for that.
Yeah. Well,
Anyway.
he couldn't leave the house, unless he, unless he wanted to,
True.
Yeah.
True.
Him in thin fabric in the breeze,
What about you, Luke? Anything interesting?
I don't know why. Okay, let me preface this before I tell the story. So Korea doesn't eat dog as much as before. I just want to preface that. It is a dying sort of culture thing that exists as the younger
I'm
generation
repulsed,
comes
but
up.
also intrigued.
That being said, I don't remember which time I visited to Korea, but there was this one time when my grandma, she fed me this meat, right? And then I was like, oh man, this tasted really good. This tastes really good. Like, I'm just eating it. And like later on, my parents tell me, I think this was like much older because like if they told me when I was younger, I'd be traumatized. I was still traumatized when they told me, but they told me that it was dog. So so that meat I was eating, that was like really good. It was like a little gamey. I was like, that was dog, and I'm like, wow, thanks parents for ruining that moment for me.
Was that like legit, like poodle?
No, I have no idea.
Did they tell you the breed on the menu?
I have no idea. But in Korea, when this was still a fit, when they do it, like they breed a specific type of dog to cook, and
oh god,
yeah.
I was wondering if it was like Ecuador rules where like you have to cook somebody's dog.
No,
but you don't know whose until you decide.
No, it's sort of a thing, but it's getting better. Like the outgoing Korean president, he adopted a dog that was meant to be like butchered. So it is changing. It's changing. I want to point that out. Like it's slowly dying out, but that did happen to me. That was like one story. Another story, which I don't remember, my dad was telling me when I visited Baltimore. But apparently, when I was younger, and I visited Baltimore, some dude just flashed us, like me and my family, out of nowhere. he was just like bam, and he just ran away. And apparently, I was like, what just happened? So I'm assuming that yeah, it was just like. I don't know. I don't know. It was like I guess he like had some mental illness issues, or he was just a streaker that existed, and he just got off just showing himself off to like young kids. So I'm like,
my god.
So yeah,
maybe we should have asked Luke for his vacation stories. This took a turn.
No, it's
you have some weird stories.
No, but okay, but wow. I don't remember that last particular story. But it's just like something that happened. And this is
in Baltimore.
Yeah. Oh god.
Nothing like going to see Edgar Allan Poe's grave and then getting flashed by some random guy.
Yeah. Maybe
that's the only thing to do in Baltimore.
And they have an aquarium.
Yeah. Maybe you guys shouldn't travel with me because every time I go travel, a story like that occurs, regardless.
Listen, I'm down. I need more interesting stories like that. The only thing that I have that comes close to that is when we were in St. Martin, we did an ATV tour, and one of the stops was to like the French side has like a pretty large nude beach, and we signed up knowing that it was a thing, but everybody on the trip just kind of stayed in like a little hut, and we did not go near the beach because we were all uncomfortable. But then all these like I want to say 70-plus-year-old dudes would just walk in completely butt naked, walk up to the counter and order something while we were all like sitting in the restaurant, and everybody just like acted like it was normal. But it was like, whoa, oh man. Like you don't realize how uncomfortable seeing like random strangers naked is until it actually happens, and you're just kind of like, okay.
I went to the gym today, and I was in the locker room afterwards, and there's this butt naked old guy, and he was just having a full-fledged conversation with this other guy who was also naked, and they were talking about like airplanes, like how like flying in weather, like flying in like a rainstorm. They're like, what are like? The old guy's asking the young guys like, so how do you do it? How do you manage it? I'm like, maybe we could have this conversation with clothes on. Maybe we could do this with pants. I think that is acceptable. I think that's not too much to ask for.
Can't wait to get to that point.
Yeah.
Confidence.
We're all just so incredibly confident in ourselves that we can just hang out in public places, talk about turbulence, butt naked.
Pat, you could, Pat, we could be that now. Like we could. It doesn't have to be when we're older. We just have to have confidence.
Yeah, you just have to
confidence.
You just have to accept the fact that someone will record you, and that'll just be on the internet for the rest of your life.
Yeah, but I mean, what internet is now, you know?
Yeah,
true. I mean, it's probably something everybody's seen before if it's on the internet.
Well,
but if I didn't have shame, I would definitely do that.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that's how I meet people in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I get a gym membership, and I just, hang out in the gym locker room and talk about how much you don't like airplanes.
I mean, listen,
see if I get any takers.
It is a social club. I mean, I couldn't tell you how these two guys know each other. Like, I mean, there's probably like 30 years of age difference between them, and they just started striking it up like it was like old buddies.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking to myself, I think this is from multiple times meeting naked in the locker room. They've just built this friendship. They've just built this. Hey, 3:00 on a Tuesday afternoon. Let's chat. I'll see you there, and let's just shoot the shit. You know what I mean? Let's just do the whatever's on your mind.
I think it's a power move. I think you get naked and you strike up the conversation. That's just like immediately asserting your male dominance, right? Like you have to hold eye contact, and the first one to break it is obviously not the alpha in the conversation anymore.
Yeah.
So I think it's a display. I don't want to say a mating display because obviously not they're not fighting over anything, but
hey, it could be. It could be.
Soon it will become clear, but for now we can just theorize that is what happens.
Okay.
Listen. I think it'd be kind of fun. Maybe 40 years down the line, go to a nude beach and just let it all hang out.
I think that's an activity you're going to have to do by yourself.
Yeah. Listen, we don't need to go there. I was going to take this in a whole other direction, but we don't have to go there. Let's get back to the topic at hand. Pat, you remember when you came and visited out here and you chugged probably like 5 gallons of water and just had to pee constantly?
Oh, yeah. So me and our other friend, Brian, who will inevitably be on the show because he's a personality. He is a personality. Very energetic guy. I have never been to high elevation like Wyoming. What elevation are you at?
We're at 7220.
Yeah. That's for those of you who live in Pennsylvania and New Jersey, and even our shout out to our one viewer in Portugal.
Yeah.
It is very hard to breathe at high elevations. And Brian had been out there before, and we flew out at like 6 a.m, and he was like, "Oh man, you gotta just chug water so that you don't, feel lightheaded and feel sick when you get there." So I'm just downing bottles of water, and we get to the airport, and the first thing I do is I go to the bathroom, obviously, and we are being picked up by Mike's aunt and uncle, and Mike is also there. I don't know how Mike got there. That's unimportant at the moment.
They picked you up and then they met me up here because I didn't have a car.
Oh yeah, so that's even worse. So Mike wasn't actually there, and so I have probably about 2 gallons of water in my system. I'm exaggerating. I would probably die if I had that much, but I have a ton of water still in my system. And we get in the car, and literally the drive from Colorado to Colorado Springs, Denver to Colorado Springs, there's really not much there. So I'm sitting in the car with these
you were
two
coming
people.
Up to Laramie. You came up to Laramie. You were coming from
even
Denver
worse.
to Laramie.
We're going from somewhere that's somewhat populated, somewhere that's absolutely not populated at all.
Yeah.
And so I have literally just met these two people that have very nicely offered to, let us stay at their house, bring us like 6 hours to Laramie.
Yeah,
and
two and a half.
Oh, okay, well, it's been a little bit. But anyway, if I could stop getting interrupted. This is my story, Mike, apparently.
Sorry.
Okay, so I am in the car, full of pee. Brian is being Brian, being his social self. We just meet the aunt and uncle for the first time. Never met these people. I'm sitting in the back seat. I'm like, oh my God, I am going to pee my pants. I have to pee so bad, but if you don't know a lot about me, I don't want to like inconvenience somebody that I don't know. I'll very much just like sit there quietly. And it got to the point where we passed an exit and I was like, oh my God, next exit, we need to pull off now. And so we go to this rinky dink gas station and there's a guy occupying the single bathroom and I'm pounding on the door. Me, who doesn't want to interrupt people who we're staying with on vacation to go to the bathroom. I'm sitting there pounding on the door. A guy comes out and is like, dude, what are you doing? And I'm like, you gotta leave. So I take the bathroom. I'm in there for literally 5 minutes. And then I get back in the car and they look at me and I have this look on my face that is like, I can already tell I'm gonna hate Brian on this vacation. And yeah, so that was my initial travel experience with Brian. And then also Mike and I are only children and we're very used to a very mellow, calm, morning. And so we see each other in the morning. Mike and I give each other the little like the nod, of approval, like, hey man, not quite awake yet. We're just gonna continue our morning, see how we wake up. Brian wakes up full throttle.
Oh no.
Like he's literally 100% all the time. And I think it was 10 days. The full vacation was 10 days. And by day 2, I was just kind of like over it. I couldn't handle the energy level that he was putting off. And honestly, we were supposed to like, share a bed because that's what people do on vacation. I'm going to put it out there. Brian and I tried to sleep in the same bed, but he rolled over and took all of it and started snoring. So I went to the couch for the rest of the vacation, and it was just bad. But yeah, I don't know how I got onto talking about this one. Not the most interesting story, but yeah, my bladder almost exploded in Denver, Colorado.
Hey, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I mean, what's funny about that too is like Brian did not pound the same amount of water as you did. He told you to, and he did not pound equally the amount of water you did.
I think that he did it as some sort of sick trick because I don't get enough water as a normal human being anyway. So I was petrified. I was like, man, I'm dehydrated already. I just got to start going. So I threw back water like I've never thrown it back before in my life.
Yeah.
And yeah, I gave some poor guy, Colorado. If you're listening, I'm so sorry. I gave him a heart attack.
Oh man, that's good. I love that. That's a fun story.
Yeah, it's always the good one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. Well, hey, I think last question for you guys.
Yeah.
Places you want to travel and why? Places you haven't gone yet. Places you want to see. I can start. So I actually been thinking about this a lot. Don't judge me, but when we were in Ecuador, kid you not, like poverty, right? But like everybody's got a DirecTV satellite dish and have some sort of TV just to watch soccer, right? And so on, I think it was either Saturday or Sunday, we were watching Barcelona versus Real Madrid. Barcelona won 4-0. Probably Barcelona fans out there. I don't follow soccer much. I mean, I know Barcelona, I know Real Madrid, but we were watching it, and all I could think about was just like the luxury of like Spain, like the south of like Spain, down in the Mediterranean. That's the Mediterranean, right?
That's
anyway,
be wrong.
Doesn't matter. I just thought, man, that would be pretty cool. Like in like old, like very old, like buildings and architecture, but like high end class. I don't know. I like the finer things in life. I'll say it. I'll say it. I'll own it. And so that kind of intrigues me. Plus, for a while there, I was in a phase of I was watching yacht tours on YouTube by this guy with Sperry's on the Mediterranean, and all I want is Sperry boat shoes and to be on a boat in the Mediterranean somewhere in Spain, France, Italy's fine. Any of those places, and just in the Mediterranean area, would Greece. I don't know. Any of them would be fantastic.
Yeah,
I'd agree. That sounds like a fabulous vacation. But if I were to
Figure it out.
pick one singular vacation, I'm a big fan of, if we're going to go on a vacation, it has to be somewhere warm, because I'm a big ski guy, and to me that's just kind of like, normal life is being cold. So I want to go somewhere where I could just like, slap on a little SPF 30 and, just kind of chill. So I feel like I've never personally been to like Hawaii. I think I would very much enjoy Hawaii. I don't know a
Okay.
lot about it, but I just think that the atmosphere and the tourist attractions and everything sound very nice. And another place, I'm not really sure. I know you can't move there, but New Zealand is another one that I kind of want to check out, because
Why
it
can't
sounds
you?
like
Why can't you
uh,
move there?
I just don't think they like having like more people move in. I don't know. It might just be something I'm making up in my mind, but I think I read that somewhere. They're like not accepting any more like people to come in and live. They're just trying to keep it like kind of tight. So I don't know. It's just another one of those cool tropical places that I never really hear people talking about, but I kind of want to, just go there and chill. I'm not a big
Oh.
like architecture, like history kind of guy. So
I want to preface. I want to preface. I'm not either. I just, something about a little class. But I agree with you. I would love somewhere warm too. I'll go with you, Pat. I'm in.
Cool.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
I
let's
don't
go
think we
get
can-
flashed wherever Luke is going.
Yeah. I was
Well,
gonna say,
okay,
I
so
don't-
we just have
I don't
to.
really want to eat dog.
In that case, we just have to avoid Baltimore. Not that they eat dog in Baltimore, because I'm pretty sure that's illegal in Baltimore, and in the United States for that matter. But Korea's great to visit, because Korea's got a lot of good food, a lot of good places you can visit. But besides Korea, I think Japan would be nice. Lots of good food, even though it may be like just south of Korea. There's a lot. The culture is like a bit different. But I think for me, Japan would be nice, or like maybe France, or honestly, the UK again would be cool, because I slept through most of the trip when I was up in the UK. But yeah, those two
No, that's
places.
right. I'm in. Okay. Sorry, side tangent one more time.
Yeah.
Why, like, how do we come up with rules of like, oh, it's illegal to eat dog in the U.S., but eat the crap out of a cow? You know what I mean? Like, whatever you want from the cow is yours, or pig or a chicken, but dog off limit. Like, I'm not vouching that we eat dog. I'm just saying, like, say, how do we decide like what's like this animal? No, you can't eat that animal, but like, you want to go kill a tiger, all
So
yours. You know?
yeah. So
I
going
think it's
into the
illegal to
poli
kill
sci
tigers.
thing. Go into my poli sci degree for a second. It's more of the whole theory of what society agrees to what society agrees is acceptable according to their norms, right? Like, for example, in the United States, our culture is a bit different, because we tend to view dogs more as like, oh, these are like, our views of dogs are different comparatively to some views in Korea, for example. The idea of food, especially when it comes to dog, it may be a bit different, and like those cultural norms are what sort of decides that, like, as a society, for example, like that's basically what it boils down to, right? It's like just what we as a collective decide to say, oh, this is acceptable, right? Like, for example, like, oh, it's fine to eat a cow, right? But like, it's not fine to eat a dog, or it's not fine to eat a cat, or in other countries it's fine to eat those things. So it's just like people saying, oh,
And
we
not
come
eat a
together.
cow.
Yeah, and it's just people coming together and saying, oh, we just don't want to do that, whether it may be just through like a tacit agreement, or whether it may be just like something, or maybe just like brought down by law, which you can also argue is affected by society and things like that. It's that whole theory thing.
No, that makes sense. I just never knew. So that's actually quite helpful.
Yeah, and also, side note, I believe Switzer. I'm not gonna put that out loud, but like there's a European country that also allows eating of dogs somewhere. I'm pretty sure. So just to make sure that people don't think, oh, Asian people eat dogs or things like that. You know, also some Europeans do that too. You know, it's legal there.
What about
Fair enough.
horses? Because I feel like some people eat horses, but then it's kind of like frowned upon.
Yeah, it's a
I don't
it's a bit 50-50 because of the whole,
Yeah.
you know.
I think it has a lot to do with the emotional attachment you can have with certain kinds of animals.
Yeah.
You know, where like a lot of cows in a field you can't like emotionally attach yourself to unless you're the one like really, you know, taking care of them. Whereas, you know, like a dog or a cat will go and show you affection and you feel kind of bad.
Yeah, it's like the whole society.
Oh,
You know,
Bessie.
Well,
Bessie
you
cow,
know,
you
oh, I thought you meant my dog.
know?
no. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. Weird. Anyway, I guess we're done talking about that.
We
Yeah.
could go into the
We should-
whole
we-
context about it, but like that's for another
We should
time.
wrap it.
Yeah.
We'll next episode will be about what animals are acceptable to eat and what aren't.
Oh, I hope
Should
that's
be
not
good-
what.
should be a good one.
I hope that's not
I
it.
It'll be going. Tune in next week.
Yeah.
No, but in spite of my trip to Ecuador, in spite of talking about vacations, what is your best road trip song for our jamming session? What are you jamming to this week? It's more of what song are you going to put on in the car as you're road tripping? You just enjoy.
I got a story
Listen,
for mine. I got a
Okay,
story
go
for
for
mine.
it.
For mine, it's gotta be that I'm blanking on the title, but it's like I just have memories when I was just driving through West Virginia. And we just play that one song that just basically goes country roads take me home. That song.
John
And we're-
Denver.
Yeah, and we're just playing that the entire time. So
We
that's
pieced
probably,
it together. We
yeah,
got it.
yeah. It's been a while, but that's the one song that I just jam out to, especially when I'm just driving through West Virginia.
Yeah,
I dig it.
right on.
So
Pat?
I know I came up with the topic like a week ago, but I actually didn't come up with the song until like 2 seconds in. So I'm lowballing this one. It's a song called "Vacation" by Dirty Heads. Relatively popular song. My mom loves it. As weird as that sounds, it's like kind of like a rap-ish song, and she's like not about it, but she's always like, "Oh my god, play that song whenever we drive anywhere." It's kind of strange. So whenever I think about getting in the car and going somewhere, I think of my mom being like, "Put on Dirty Heads Vacation, please." It's just a weird memory that comes to my mind.
Right on. I don't know if I've ever
That's-
heard that song.
No, we heard it
Yeah.
at the Zach Brown band concert. They played it before Zach Brown came on. It was really odd.
Really?
I kid you not. It's in my brain. It's in
I
there.
don't remember that.
It happened.
I don't doubt you. I believe you. For me, our official song of the trip was the Kenny the Ecuador trip was Kenny Chesney's "Everything Gets Hotter When the Sun Goes Down." But then I made a joke, and then it turned out to be actually kind of fit, which will change your perspective on how you listen to this song. But if you replace the word "hotter" with "harder" in that song, so everything gets harder when the sun goes down, the song takes on a whole new meaning. But I still recommend checking it out. It's a good summer song. It's I think like a good travel. When I think of travel, I think of summer, and I think of out and about, that kind of stuff. So everything gets hotter when the sun goes down, or harder, however you want to listen to it. But I guarantee you won't be able to unhear harder if you actually go and listen to it, putting the word harder in.
Okay.
So anyway, that's our show.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in, boys. It's been great. It's been real.
Yep.
And we'll be back in a week.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, time to bring the pages back up.
Yep.
For all you Spotify people, click off next. Doesn't interest you.
Yeah.
Bye.